Except that those disgusting people never go away, I imagine.
Alma Schindler? The woman who stole my Gustav? My soulmate? My God.
I am to be called Alma Mahler-Berthel. And who exactly are you?
Natalie, of course. Natalie Bauer-Lechner.
Really? I didn't recognize you. You're no great beauty. But certainly not as old and ugly as everyone has said.
Everyone? Not everyone, just you. You put it in your self-serving memoirs. You're the one that said Gustav rejected me because he could never marry a plain woman.
Well, maybe not plain, but just relatively plain next to me. The most beautiful woman in Vienna at the turn of the century. Well, you really didn't have a chance.
I appealed to his mind, to his art, to his creative spirit. You to something far, shall we say, baser? Really just the biggest word man.
Outrageous! I was from a family of artists. I had it all. I was an inspiration, a muse, a fine pianist, a composer.
Yes, we've all heard about those composition lessons you had with Symphony. Real bodice rippers. Though to his eternal torment, you never gave up.
Well, I was saving myself for Mahler.
Remember, we had the internet here for torment purposes. I think it was just a lucky accident you were a virgin for Gustav. Does this diary entry sound familiar? I think you wrote it after one of your lessons with Symphony. Fill me with your holy water.
All right.
I don't think you were talking religion there.
This is worse than Facebook. I was very young, a healthy woman, and those were wonderful lessons. I was the composer of 17 songs for voice and piano.
You married Gustav for his power as the most prominent musician in Vienna, the director of the court opera, an alpha male conductor. He was irresistible to you.
And vice versa. Yet despite my obvious allure, there was much, much more to me. During my engagement, Mahler and I played his Fourth Symphony at the piano.
You hated it. You never loved his music. You thought it unrefined compared to the Zemlinsky technique. Zemlinsky proposed generating the whole piece with continuing variation from a single theme. And my Gustav...
Your Gustav? Once he was with me, Mahler was inspired to move on as a composer of pure music. I grew to love his music, just not the trivial scenarios, the marches, and the folk songs that dominated those earlier symphonies.
He never changed. Those scenarios inspired him. His love of those folk poems and his immersion in his songs never changed. The highest art from the lowest sources. Here's what he told me about composing. The melody pours forth here in a grand, broad stream. One idea is interwoven with the other, constantly branching out in an inexhaustible wealth of variety. And how choice and delicate the end product of this process of self-generation. If you could follow its course right through, it would be a joy to you. And that's the only way to create in one grand sweep. It is no use playing around with some poor little scrap of theme. Let me repeat. It's no use playing around with some poor little scrap of theme, comparing it and writing fugues on it, anything to make it last at a whole movement. I can't stand the economical way of going about things. Everything must be overflowing, gushing forth continually, if the work is to amount to anything.
Well, that's why Mahler had no followers, and the Zemlinsky technique, through his student, the great Schoenberg, dominated the 20th century. Mahler was a magnificent, one of a kind. By the way, Mahler hated when when you would walk with him and goad him into talking about his work and his methods. You were a weird, needy stalker.
On the contrary, he opened up to me. And the musical world is forever in my debt for my recollections of Gustav, while you have spawned 1,000 PhD theses trying to correct the self-serving factual errors of your mind.
Starting about the time of the Fifth Symphony, in the fall of 1901, you had gone from his life. He had moved on, both musically and emotionally. And this is the end of your world with Mahler. The Mahler Fifth Symphony opens with your funeral procession. Not literally you, just your ideas about his previous music. Purgatory is like being in an endless pre-concert lecture. All excerpts and no musical slow. Mahler pulled into his very being experiences, and it ended up being pure Mahler.
You know, in 1901, the last summer I I had with him before you took him away. Gustav gave me the manuscripts to his last songs from the youth's magic horn, the ones you looked down on. He also gave me several real songs in your reckoning, the settings of the poet Rupert.
Well, maybe they were a parting gift. You know, a kiss-off, as it were.
They were a precious gift. And their phrasing made it into the Fifth Symphony. Listen to this passage from the Little Drunk Boy.
From Mahler's music the door. You diminish him.
It was the way he worked. He just suppressed the scenarios for the general public because they were distracting.
Because he was writing pure music, not tone poems. Oh, you can blame Justine all you want. But Mahler wanted children. Let me see. Mahler was born in 1860. When were you born?
Stop it.
Oh, yes, 1858. So in 1901, you were already, could you help me? But math was never my strong point.
43. Gustav faced death many times in his family. Many of his brothers and sisters died young. Who's to say said Gustav wanted children in those circumstances.
A very prominent 20th century psychiatrist did.
I don't think we need a psychiatrist to explain the situation when a powerful, accomplished 41-year-old marries a 19-year-old.
I was 22.
Freud said you had a father fixation. Maybe he should have called it the Alma complex and not the Electra complex. You wanted to bear Gustav's children. He hated the thought of suffering the world would go through when hearing his sad songs on the death of children. He gave the manuscripts to me.
I hated that he was writing those songs. It was tempting fate. And our daughter Kunzi died not even 5 years old.
I'm so sorry. Of course, we're all dead here. But at least Putzi is with the angels. And as an honest, sympathetic woman, I'll tell you something to support your theses that the Fifth Symphony is pure music. Gustav did describe the third movement of his Fifth Symphony in purely musical terms. But to me, it is kneaded through and through till not a grain of the mixture remains unmixed and unchanged. Every note is charged with life, and the whole thing whirls around in a giddy dance. a love song for you. But that's obviously false on two grounds.
What possible grounds?
First, you never mentioned it in your memoirs, and someone as grandiose as you would be certain to claim this beautiful music if he had actually mentioned it to you directly, or through Mengelberg. He had plenty of opportunities to tell you. You even copied out the whole score of the Symphony for Gustav, and all he did was send you a little thank you postcard.
Husbands.
Second, I think this music has a much more direct relationship to me. What does this sound like?
everyday life. That's all wonderfully argued, Natalie. The only problem is the music. Oh, Mahler was such an artist that the same materials could be shaded, and the music veers from beautiful inner contemplation to passionate, all-embracing love of the other. Just listen to this and tell me that this is self-absorption.
Okay. But since you were never mentioned, are you sure it is not just a love song to all the women that Gustav had loved?
Which particular women are we talking about before me?
Well, there was Marion von Weber, the wife of the composer's grandson. You don't think that Gustav took such an interest in Weber's music for musicology, do you? There were also a number of opera singers, such as Rita Mahalik, Selma Kurtz, and Anna von Mildenberg. Do you really think you were the only diva in his life?
I knew about Anna.
I also kept a secret. Who do you think this describes? As we were immured in the very narrow room and isolated from all the world in fervently animated Scheherazade-like tales, up until the graying of morning, we unfolded our entire lives before each other without declaration, question, and vow. Our psyches and physiques melted into each other.
Did you steal that from a Harlequin romance? Maybe you huddled for warmth in an icy coach once or twice, but you're not the type of woman to inspire music like this.
Gustav worshipped the ever-womanly. This is love beyond person.
No, that was love inspired by the most beautiful woman in Vienna. Now, is the part of Purgatory which the experience, well, we will have an argument that will change when I go to your side, but for your punishment. Here is some sort of scenario for you. The fifth and the final movement of the Fifth Symphony is the happy married life, family life that Mahler wished for with me. Here is your tumult. Here are the trivialities. Oh, but they brightened his spirit. This is no abandoning of the world. Listen to this. When we can hear a complete Mahler symphony here.
Let's try to start it. Please be complete. Don't even